Come on, spill the tea.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work.
Come on, spill the tea.
Yeah.
You are now tuned in to DAR Sports Media, where we really hope that we had a strong lead-in to the show, because that, you know, that's apparently what dictates your viewership. It's not your show being appointment viewing or appointment listening. It's whatever your lead-in is. That's really, you know, the mover and shaker there. I already know the answers to these questions because I've been talking about it the last few days. But true. Real quick, top of your head, what's the lead-in for SmackDown?
I have absolutely no idea.
What's the lead-in for NXT?
No idea.
What's the lead-in for Raw?
I have. Well, I think one time I do remember it was like Law and Order or some shit like that at one point.
Well, we're about to go there. What was the lead-in for Nitro?
Goddamn. You taking me back?
Now,
don't have an answer.
You know, some of the lead-ins for Raw is War. It's an indelible, you know, connection to our childhood. So some of the people did know, you know, like the Murder She Wrote. So it's the fucking lead into Raw is War back in the day, because that's, you know, which was such a funny juxtaposition. But I've never even heard this be a fucking topic of discussion in my fucking life. And yet motherfuckers can rattle it off like fucking that when it becomes the AEW Dynamite. It's the lead fucking part of the conversation. Well, what I do remember about conversations about wrestling and lead-ins was the fact that USA and all the channels that the WWE has ever been on always used the WWE as a fucking lead-in. And I believe back in when they were really doing doing good numbers, TNA Impact supported like an entire week of lead-in programming into stuff that Spike TV was trying to get over. So the only times I've ever heard lead-ins discussed when it comes to professional wrestling is using the incredibly strong wrestling numbers to lead in and boost up other shows, not wrestling shows trying to use their lead-in as an excuse as to why they did a fucking diabolical fucking low viewership number, a low viewership number that the viewership has been trending towards anyways. And that's what's so bad faith and delusional. And you know what? At first, obviously, when I was seeing all these histrionics on Friday, Saturday, I wanted to get mad, but I'm like, you know what? And tell some of you that you need to be committed to fucking mental institutions for some of the insane fucking shit that you're saying and some of the mental gymnastics you're trying to turn this into. You know, trying to say that if you don't let Juneteenth be a fucking excuse for this, then that's obviously some sort of a racial, you don't take Juneteenth seriously as a serious federal. It's just fucking ridiculousness. Come on. By the way, no other show in the top 5 on cable suffered a viewership decline because on Juneteenth. And the last time that Raw was on Juneteenth, it got a 300,000 viewer bump up. So
I just want to point out.
So those statistics might be more why I don't think it was because Juneteenth and not because any sort of thing where I apparently don't take Juneteenth seriously as a holiday. I take it very seriously as a holiday. So no, but you know, I wanted to say, if you're spewing that kind of nonsense in the most textbook form of gaslighting that I've seen in a long time, you should be committed to a mental institution. But then the more peaceful, older version of me came out and I said, you know, there's people out there, they're hurting. True, they're hurting. Because you'd be hurting too. What must it be like to always be wrong? Every single fucking time. It's almost like I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about it. It's almost like a I don't want to downgrade the seriousness of, but it's almost like a bad relationship. Like, you keep saying, oh, it's going to change. You keep making excuses. You keep coming up with excuses. And then this other person just keeps making a fool of you in front of everybody. And that's what keeps happening to these double O's. They keep up with their excuses and they're this and then they're that and moving the goalposts. And then AEW keeps not being able to even clear those goalposts. And then it's just a new set of excuses. And y'all end up looking stupid every single fucking time.
I just want to point out so that people can fully grasp and understand what's happening here. So when you have people that work for brands or people that are in wrestling media and they instantly go to finding ways to make up for anything that's happened negatively, whether it's WWE or AEW. Recently, it's been a lot of AEW. A lot of it is because
all within the same 2-hour span.
Yeah, if you see this, what you should know is most of these people are getting the nudge to clear it up. The nudge from people within the company. Now you got to think to yourself, if you're an AEW person, if you're a fan, you know that AEW people are terminally online. And I'm not just talking about their fans. I'm talking about their owner. I'm talking about their administrators. I'm talking about their music people. They are terminally online. We're all online, which is true. But they are online and you get DMs. I know this because I've experienced this. You get DMs from people in the company like, hey, man, can you clear this up? Or can you say something to this? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, why won't you? I'm like, why would I do that? Like, that's not my business. I don't, like there was a time where I would do that. And then I felt like I saw how I looked to myself. And I was like, this ain't me. Like, I worked with the company at one point, yes. But I'm not going to defend every little criticism against it because this is business. And business, in this type of public business, you're going to get criticism. And I think when you see particularly for me, seeing my fellow brothers and sisters go so hard about Juneteenth and be like, oh, that's why, because we were outside and we weren't doing anything. We were watching the Kendrick concert. Everybody was watching the Kendrick concert, which is like, okay, that may be true that a lot of people were watching Kendrick concert. Myself, I watched it on YouTube for free and whatever. I saw Cam say he watched it on the television and then he watched Dynamite on the iPad or whatever. But it's like that all still connects to the ratings. I'm pretty sure because he was using YouTube TV or whatever, Hulu, whatever it is. So it all connects to it. So it's all connected. So it's not like a lot of people were doing both. There should have been a time where during the midst of that Kendrick concert, Kendrick performed for about an hour and a half. So at some point there should be a 30-minute window, if that was the case, where things were like 700, 650, like it has been recently.
A lot of people said that he didn't even get on the stage till 10 Eastern.
Like 9:30ish, 9:30ish, 9:45.
Yeah, like 9:45. So
yeah. So and with that right there, people were like, "Oh, well, they were watching." Look, I understand people liked your YG.
It never got above 500.
And that's the problem.
What the fuck are we doing here? Like, it never got above 500. Like,
and so I want to say this really quick because I saw it and it bothered me. Somebody said, "Oh, this just shows that people don't take Juneteenth serious as a real holiday and all this other stuff." And let's just be clear. Holiday episodes for most episodic television does suffer a little bit. That's totally fine. I can tell you something that you're probably not going to like, and it kind of agrees to what that person was saying, but there's a difference between Christmas, there's a difference between Thanksgiving, there's a difference between the 4th of July, there's a difference between Labor Day, Memorial Day even. There's a difference between Easter, if you want to say that. Hell, Valentine's Day, if you really want to get into it. New Year's Eve. Juneteenth is very much a singular holiday for a group of people. Now, to us, as Black people, it's an important thing. I can't tell BVJ 37.8 that Juneteenth is a very important holiday, or it's a very important thing in general, because that's somebody who might go, hey, I don't like why don't we get a white holiday or some shit like that. Like that's what happens. Black History Month happens. You have Pride Month happening, and people complain, why don't they have this? Why don't they have that? So like when you have things that are particularly for a set of people, you're gonna get people who don't probably see that as whatever. And I'll be honest, I could give a fuck who sees anything as what anyway. I don't care. That's another problem. This is a bigger issue in professional wrestling where you want to validate something to a lot of these fans who don't look like you and they're not going to see things the same way. We don't live in a perfect world where everybody's like, on Juneteenth, we're not watching wrestling. We're going to sit all together and watch Tyler the Creator, YG, and DJ Mustard go do that. It's not realistic.
I'm trying to be careful, and you're trying to be careful. Even if statistically, Black Americans make up 13% of the population.
It's growing.
So even if thankfully, so even if 100%, like the mathematics of that would have to fucking take place for this to be as big of a factor as some people are trying to make it out to be, as in regards to the Dynamite viewership, is next to fucking like astronomical, like statistical improbability. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
I also want to point out that if Juneteenth was actually a reason for such a steep drop, a couple 100,000 people dropping off, I would assume that when you have a holiday, the company itself would have taken it serious, because the company did put forth a decent card on paper. They put several.
What's funny about this whole thing is we really haven't talked shit about the show or what. It
wasn't a bad show.
It wasn't a bad show. We're just talking about people online fucking bouncing, trying to fucking run interference for the company.
You don't have to ride that dick all the goddamn time. Sometimes you could take a little break. Sometimes you could sit down and just, all right, let me not do this. And I get it. You guys want to keep your access. You guys want to be friends with these guys. If you say anything negative, like the product is cold or it's not engaging people like it used to, then that you're going to get that DM. And you all know those 3 or 4 people in AEW who send you those DMs, because I've got multiple DMs from these people, and they'll say, hey man, come on man, cut us some slack. Or they give you a 6-paragraph message, shout out to you who does that, about why the company is not doing this great, or why this or why that. And it's like, yo, look, I've held a lot of y'all secrets in for a very long time, because I've seen a lot of things and heard a lot of things from this company. And I'm like, bro, the way that they try to paint WWE of like, oh, WWE does this and does that to fuck with us. And I was like, y'all been doing the same thing for years. It's just that it's easier to paint yourself as this helpless victim company who, oh my God, every little thing that happens, we're dropping in ratings because Black Panther was on instead of the Big Bang Theory. So you're nothing without the Big Bang Theory lead.
That's
and people didn't
how pathetic we've gotten, is like the people who ride for this fucking company think it's like not a huge indictment of their fucking viewership power to say, oh well, if we would have had the Big Bang Theory, then the numbers would have been different. How do you think that's saying something good about fucking AEW? That you're but that's how these people work. They so frantically try to cover for this week's fucking disaster that they say shit that then, looking back, invalidates so many of the numbers that they've ever fucking done.
The peak of AEW.
We've kind of shied away, where we've kind of mentioned it. Like, well, if you take away the Big Bang Theory lead in, this number is actually a lot fucking worse. But we haven't really drilled in on that, because it's kind of borderline, like whether that's bad faithy or not. Like, I don't know. But now the people who support them are like embracing that. Like, no, yeah, it is because of Big Bang Theory. Like, okay, if that's how you guys want to play, then going forward, maybe we should take that fucking hour average out. and then you'll get the true viewership number. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So let's, because I don't want to harp too much on the ratings for the duration of the show. I'll just say this, because AEW's peak, right? We remember the peak of AEW, right? We remember the peak. We remember everything that happened that was perfect for them, right? When Punk was there, Bryan came, Omega was there, Adam Cole came. They were doing 1.3, 1.4 million, because they had the excitement. They felt fresh. At the time, WWE was struggling to find their footing, despite having like the start of the what was it, the tribal chief thing with the Jey Uso stuff was like it was just starting to get hot again, because it had sucked for so long that people were like, oh my god, AEW was it. I'll even tell you like a personal thing. So at the time I started to do work with AEW, I've never really referenced it on the show, but the mother of my child, when I told her, I was like, hey, I'm starting to do work with AEW, she was like, yo, AEW is like way better than WWE right now. She's like, that's a good look. A woman who does not watch wrestling anymore like that said to me, oh, AEW is doing better than WWE. They got CM Punk, I just saw. I know that's your boy. So and like Daniel Bryan and all them over there. Like, that's dope. That's how it was. The casual fan started to like gravitate to AEW, and with that, it made you realize that there was something there. And people were like, oh, CM Punk had got a total rating of 1 point what was it, 1.2 million,
like yeah,
something like that. And it's like on a Friday at 10 p.m. I was there live in Chicago for that. And while I sat there in Chicago live for that, that's the only time I've ever traveled for wrestling without working for an actual company at the time. And I was sat there and I was watching this and I was like, this is it. They're about to like give WWE some real fucking competition. And then I'm in the movie theater watching All Out a couple weeks later, and here goes where is it? Fucking Brian Danielson and Adam Cole, and everybody is just, we're in the theater, everybody's jumping, everybody's like, yo, this is crazy, this is crazy. And we left the theater, and I remember it's myself, my boy Speed, Apollo was with me, and Apollo doesn't even watch wrestling that often anymore, but he was there, we were all there, and he looked at me, he was like, yo, AEW might be where it's at right now. And a month later, I started my relationship working with AEW. And so that there showed me, I'm like, yo, they have it. And sure enough, they lost it. And what it is the cool factor of AEW is gone now, because you know what they really are. And the problem is that once if somebody drops their veil, it's very hard to see them the way you saw them before. Because when CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, Christian Cage, Malachi Black, Andrade all come into your company, while you still have your Kenny Omegas, your Young Bucks, your Hangman Adam Pages, your this, your that, all of these guys, your Ricky Starks, mind you, who should be getting way more going on than he has. Once you have stuff like that happening, you can look at basically a company who, to me, was right there. They were right there knocking on the door. And what did you do? You ruined it.
The demo. Yes.
You ruined it. And how you ruined it really because of the fact you could not allow yourself to move further, because there were people who were insecure backstage that all these new people coming in meant they were going to, like they were going to lose their spot. They were going to go through this.
It's so funny because in my discussions with people in my regular life who are like, casual, like regular fans, they know that I know people and I'm a little bit plugged in, and they had questions. They're like, oh, well, and I answered every question these people had with like, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with that? I answered it with all of these answers that were logic, that were just really standard pro wrestling business logic. Like, this is obviously what's going to happen because this is how pro wrestling works. And then these fucking dudes went out of their way to do the fucking opposite of all of those things. And now we are finding out why those things that I said were our standard pro wrestling business answers. They said, what happened with all these people? You know, what's going to happen with all these people that were already there and now they're bringing in all these stars? I said, well, they had 2 years. They had 2 years to get over. Whoever isn't. Whoever, you know, and then they're going to go forward with who's going to make money for them. Like, that's the way it's going to be. What's going to happen? Oh, Colt Cabana and CM Punk. I said, there's fucking money to be made here. No one gives a fuck. Neither one of these people give a fuck. There's money to be made. Who gives a fuck? Like, they don't care. Both of those, wrong. But now we see why I answered that way, because they did the opposite of both of those things. And look where we're fucking at today.
And I got to mention this.
Yeah.
I got to mention this because it came up as a topic of discussion. Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse, who no one has given a fuck about, and God knows how long, or have ever really given a fuck about, had a lot to say about CM Punk. Now, my thing here is, he said he talks to Colt Cabana almost every day. And he's had an issue with CM Punk for years. So I can deduce from that, hey, Colt Cabana is running his mouth about CM Punk to all his friends.
To this day.
And what happens is, if that's the case, all this like,
what do you think was happening while Punk was there?
Why? And that's where some of the stuff I've heard behind the scenes, especially when I was like, you know, kind of really in the thick of the AEW circles and people talking, I would tell people that I would talk to, like, why do y'all care? Like, that was always I was like, yo, why do y'all care about that? Like, that don't matter. And it's like, nah, man, because Punk this is Punk's that. And I'm like, he's just trying to do business. And that's when you realize that people do not see things from a business perspective. You're talking to people who are like, hey, we started this as this, and we're losing what this started as. And you just got to grow. I mean, with anything, you have to grow. There's elements of things. We're talking about let's talk about DAR. There's elements of things that are different from when we first started. The music stuff is different. Some of the writers, we have different writers. We're trying to grow and go in different directions. There's other brands. The Ringer. Our boy Cam, Cam writes for the Ringer. They're going in different directions. They've hired a lot more black writers to kind of tell the stories in professional wrestling and sports. And it's okay to go in a slightly different direction than what you started as, because that's growth. That's business. I wouldn't expect someone who does not care about growth in business to really get what happens. And I also believe that the whole CM Punk thing, it allowed people to go through this weird thing of like, hey, Punk's got Tony's ear. We don't have his ear anymore. Although they were still doing their shit on the television program. But like Cody's a prime example. Cody had a different thought process than a lot of people in the company. And that's why his shit didn't really fit with what was going on. Was that a bad thing? Was that a good thing? I didn't necessarily enjoy Cody Rhodes' stuff and I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that the Elite did. And then when Punk got there, I enjoyed what the Elite did, and I enjoyed what Punk did. I wanted to see those two work together. That was, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I wanted to see. And we missed out on so much money in AEW because of egos, because of bullshit. And I think it sucks. And I think as these ratings continue to struggle and go down, I could care less. First of all, I could care less about the ratings personally, like myself. But it's just like, something has to be done, because where's the disconnect? You got a great champion who, is about to have a fucking classic, I'm sure, at Forbidden Door with another great professional wrestler. Although I know people say like, oh man, they're doing it way too fast, and it doesn't, it doesn't have that exciting build up that it could have had if they prolonged it for a couple of months. But as we see, I think MJF is easily perching himself as the next guy to fight Will Ospreay at some point, and that's their big
Because
feud. And
that worked out so awesome last time.
hey, once you pay somebody a lot of money, I guess you got to give them, what
Yeah. So the thing that we're all talking about here, is it's just showing yourself again. This is what I say all the time online. They just showed themselves to be completely unserious, and it's not even just the way that they deal with things. Everybody wants to like just knee jerk and go to this whole like, oh, booking for the sickos, booking for the hardcores. That's not even really. No, man, it's all the fucking pushes that happen and then just get randomly dropped and you never fucking see someone ever fucking again. It's bringing people in, big pop, and then you just don't fucking see them again. It's when somebody's not in the circle to the treehouse of friends, you just leave them on ice and do fucking nothing with them. Hello, Ricky Starks, who was not injured, by the way.
Not at all. Shout out to Cam for that video he posted today, by the way.
So I said that the other day in a group chat. I was talking about this, and it flies more under the radar, but the Ricky Starks thing is almost just as much of a fucking shoot yourself in your own fucking dick move as fucking CM Punk was, right? CM Punk already was at that level, but Ricky Starks has the ability to get to that fucking level. And they just decided because of who this guy is friends with, and because he doesn't I almost just said something crazy, because he doesn't play nice the right way, that they're gonna just fucking give up on it and let us, do what. I ain't gonna put nobody's business out in the streets, but I think it's pretty obvious what the fuck's happening. Based upon who he's friends with and who thought he would be a good fucking asset to the team.
Shout out to Rick, man. Rick is
it's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine.
In due time, everything comes around.
A series of showing how fucking unserious you are. It happened to TNA. It was even, and this is how, again, we prove we're not fucking biased on this show. We just speak the truth. It was happening to fucking WWE. It feels like forever ago because of everything that has happened, but WWE was fucking arterial sprays of fucking viewership loss for years. 2019, 2020, 2021 was bleeding viewers. The Seth Rollins run after the New York WrestleMania before COVID, they were fucking eating shit on attendance. New record lows every 3 weeks of attendance and of fucking viewership because they were doing things that showed that they were not to be taken fucking seriously. It was in a little bit different way, but it was the same thing in that they regularly, the choices that they made, sent the message to their viewer that none of this fucking matters that you're watching. There's no reason to invest week to week. Keep faith, watch the shows. It's a little bit different in both places. But the WWE had for a while sent the message, your crowd reactions don't matter. The spikes in viewerships don't matter. The fucking merchandise doesn't matter. We're just going to do whatever we want to do, fucking regardless what our plans are. And that's that. Unserious. There's no reason to invest because if you're not feeling what you're seeing and you like other stuff that you're seeing, there's no reason to invest and keep coming back because they don't give a fuck. Didn't give a fuck back then. And that's why the WWE was losing viewers and losing attendance. TNA, it's really a lot of the same shit that was that back then that's happening now. You're putting acts on that aren't fucking working over and over and over, acts that have been tried over and over and over, and they have not fucking gotten over. You keep booking audience. That's why we were laughing the other day in that same group chat. Everybody used to talk all this shit. Oh, WWE when it was bad. And this was true. Oh, WWE is just a book for an audience of one. So is fucking AEW. It's just booked for an audience of one. And that's why you have the fucking problems that you have. Because this person gets tired of the toys that he was playing with before and they just disappear. Man, the moment the other night made me wistful when Nyla Rose came out to that big old fucking pop. And I was like, wow, this feels like it's bringing me back. This is what AEW used to be. One of those AEW originals, fucking hot fucking crowd. Like, fuck. AEW was cool back then. Now there's, but it was also a perfect example because that person hadn't been on the show in like a year, randomly for no real fucking reason.
Which, like I said, at the end of the day, what made AEW was that it offered the alternative to the cold product of WWE. And when WWE struggled in 2020, especially during the pandemic with the Thunderdome shit, and they weren't putting on, like, as they call them, bangers. They weren't putting on great shows. And in 2021, they started to get a little bit better, I think, WWE was, but then AEW kicked it up into overdrive. And then you had Omega as champion. You had Moxley still out there. You had the Bucks as tag champions, and Death Triangle and all these great acts that are still around. But I think at some point what happens is that you have to reinvent yourself. You have to kind of reinvent the wheel a little bit. Once you run into a bit of a stale, you get stale. And unfortunately,
what's the first step? What's the first step of the 12 stages of fucking up? Accepting you have a problem. And we're still we're still there.
The denial within that company is what is doing them the most grief, because they don't believe that there's anything wrong. They like, oh, we're good, because if Warner Brothers doesn't seem to really have an issue, which at the end of the day, I guess that's the bottom line for them. And I think there's other things that I know about the people running this company, and several people have reached out to me over the last week to tell me more about some of their business and practices out there in the Florida area. And it doesn't surprise me that anybody who says anything negative about your company, they're grifters. They're bad faith. And I think that is it's an indicator that you don't like criticism. You don't take constructive criticism. If somebody says, hey man, that segment wasn't it. Hey, how about we keep Jericho off the program for a couple weeks, man? It's just stale, it's not good. You are like, oh, I'm booking for the sickos. And it's like, you steal everything from social media, and then you try to switch it around to make it like, haha, I'm with you guys, I'm one of you guys. But you're not. You don't care about any of the stuff that you act like. You run on. I'll say this:
more and more Jericho and more Callus. So you're booking for the wrong kind of sickos there, bud.
And I'll say this: I don't like the fact that this billionaire who owns the company gets on social media and parades himself around like he's some great old wizard person that does this amazing stuff, because you have a lot of shitty practices and a lot of shitty things you've done in your past and your current. So I just don't feel like I think that's the problem. We all knew Vince was a piece of shit. Triple H is a piece of shit. All these people that work in professional wrestling are pieces of fucking shit. It's just a business at the end of the day, and as a fan, that's really all I care about. Like, are you putting on a good program that I can be entertained by? I'm not going to necessarily watch WWE with the thought of like, hey, this is Vince's program. I honestly don't even want to look at Vince. I didn't like Vince when Vince would come out on television, people would cheer for him, and when he had no chance and he would do his walk, I always booed him. When he came out in Baltimore at different events, I booed him because I never liked him. People would cheer and be like, oh, it's Vince. Fuck Vince. I don't hold billionaires or rich people in high esteem because they run a company that I enjoy watching. I don't give a fuck. I love hip hop music. I love hip hop music. I love R&B music. You know who runs those labels that distribute those artists? A bunch of terrible fucking people. But I like music. I like professional wrestling. I think you have to separate your fandom a little bit. Tony Khan is not your friend. No one in AEW is really your friend. They're using you, media people, as a gateway to get out what they need you to get out. You want to be their friend so bad and go sit at them parties and go sit at those after the event events that they have that those who work in media or have been around a company know about. You want to be a part of that. So you want to be down so bad. And people do the same shit with WWE. That's why when they started letting media into those scrums in WWE, people have been kissing WWE's ass too. It's all around. WWE just has a better product than AEW right now, so it looks a little bit better. But it's all a bunch of kiss ass shit in this business, and I've never liked it. And I think AEW does not need kiss asses. They need people to tell them, yo, this shit is not hitting right now. What can we do to get better as a brand? Not keep parading Jack Perry out there with the Bucks, with Okada all the time, being like, oh, we're like, this is like the new NWO, or this is we are so back. That stupid ass shit y'all keep doing. Like, it's not working, bro. Like, it's not working. People are not tuning in because a lot of people don't. A lot of people, for some reason, I hear a lot of people say they do not care about Will Ospreay like that. A lot of people don't like Swerve. I do know that. They have their reasons, I guess, which a lot of women have told me what their reasons are for not being a fan of Swerve. And if you paid attention to social media feeds, you might have seen that video that a lot of women, especially black women, didn't like. There's a lot of confusion about his response to the black wrestlers list. So there's a number of things that happen on social media that make people dislike the wrestlers and the company too, as well as the owner. So and on the opposite side, you got Shawn Michaels saying, hey, I offer, Shawn Michaels' PR guy offering Kendrick and Drake a chance to come to NXT. They're bringing Sexy Red on NXT, which I could give two shits about. But there's an audience of people who that fits. Lil Wayne was at WrestleMania, right? Or was right there on WrestleMania week with Jey Uso. You bring people that people like and people think are cool in WWE, and it'll work. Like, the coolest person that I think AEW's had on television as an artist was Rick Ross, and Rick, I don't fuck with Rick Ross. So I mean, and I know they had Lex Luger, the producer, on there with Swerve and stuff like that, and it's like they're trying their hardest to find a way to appeal to an audience that has already decided what their preferred wrestling program of choice is. And then you're just trying to appeal, and you're becoming a very WWE light at times with how your 2019 WWE light with how it's like, this isn't working, but you keep trying to do it. This isn't working. Samoa Joe is out there beefing with the Jericho learning tree, and it's just like, can we get that time to some other people? You know what I'm saying? Can we just, you know what I mean? Like, these wrestlers are talented, and I need people to stop disrespecting my boy Rick, man. My boy Ricky Starks, like. Every time Ricky been on television, he shined. I don't understand how people can say that and look at Jericho going out there bullshitting and bluffing around on fucking television and act like Ricky Starks can't go out there and get himself over like he did against MJF, like he did with Big Bill, like he's done in every fucking thing he's ever done. Team Taz was popping because him and Hobbs were a good fit together. That's what it was. Starks is a talented professional wrestler. So what? He don't kiss everybody's ass. So what? He's not. I'm flying the flag for a company. You're not supposed to, man. You just getting a paycheck. He just go there, do his job, and he go to fuck home. That's work. Wrestling is not the end all be all passion for everybody. Where it's like, I love this. I'm gonna get AEW tattooed on me because that's how much I believe. And then at the same time, I'm here because Tony Khan paid me a ton of money. MJF. Like, it's cornball shit. And we can really talk about MJF, but I'm not really going to go there. I just think the things that are working for AEW right now, I'm excited to see the match that Swerve and Ospreay has. I think Mercedes Moné and Stephanie are going to have a great match. I love Mina, Tony, and Mariah May. Anything those women do, I will watch.
It's yet another pay-per-view. Stop us if you've heard this before. Yet another pay-per-view where we're like, the rest of this is kind of but goddamn, these women's matches, it's like every fucking time. But yeah, both of those women's matches are going to.
That's 2020 WWE again.
Yeah,
the women were carrying when Bianca and Sasha. This is the same shit. The carrying.
Both of those women's matches are going to be fucking incredible. I'm fucking super fucking pumped about it. I'm about to say we're 38 minutes in. We got to move on. But yeah, those two matches are fucking. I'm fucking hyped as fuck about it. I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door next week. I'm into it, but again, can everybody out here listen? Everybody who's a AEW bouncer, and I don't mean bouncer at the bar, just because it's hitting with me doesn't mean that it's fucking working for everybody and what's best for the company. You can say that. You can do it. I'm excited for Forbidden Door. I'm super excited for those two women's matches. Absolutely fuck yes. I don't know. All I'm going to say is, this social media activity that we saw with AEW was not the only social media activity that I did not approve of that I saw last week. Because I saw you, Mr. Negative Pants, Mr. That Doesn't Move Me, Mr. Shit on everything before you even get a chance to see what it is. Talking crazy about this Wyatt Six situation. I kind of get what you mean though. And I also think it's funny how no, but like your reasoning, right? You explained it a little bit further. Is, you know, these are all people that I don't fucking care about. So
I just want to point out, I never want to be called Mr. Negative Pants on the show ever again.
Well,
I never want to be
Mr.
called
Negative Pants, and then we can fucking do
no,
that.
No. I'm not. No. That is not.
And to that I say, to your criticism of I don't care about any of these people. Why would I care about them? Have you never seen a fucking repackage before?
Still don't give a damn. I don't think they're that talented. That's what it is. I don't think none of those people. Like, I think the Wyatt Six thing is going to work because it's because of Bray. And my thing is, if Bray was here, it'd be so much better. But that's the problem. If you package something with people, because that was his idea before. Careful.
Yeah, that's, you know. So for anybody who's uninformed, and most of the people I would imagine who listen to this are probably on Twitter and probably are the types of people who know this, but this is where this was going with Bray Wyatt. The Uncle Howdy thing, when they kept bringing out the puppet characters and how he was talking about, you know, you're pushing me to this and you're pushing me to that, blah, 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 blah. That's where this was going, was this same group, but with Wyatt in the lead of it. Now they're doing a situation, and it'll be interesting to see how they manage to do this in a way that doesn't taste yucky. They're doing it in a way where my perception is that he is still the leader, but like spiritually, and like it's going to be kind of like a murder cult type situation where they carry out this violence in the name of Bray Wyatt's memory, or what you know, however exactly it'll be spun. I just think it's funny how within 30 minutes, you know, you got all these people online who, well, how is this going to work? How's it going to work on a wrestling show? Like, dude, I don't know. Why don't you wait and fucking see? I don't really understand either, but you know, it's not the first time the WWE has fucking pulled something like this off either. So also the reason why I'm so negative about it is because I think in order for something like this to work, you need an engaging character at the top of it. And I don't feel like any of these people are engaging in the right sense. I think Bray Wyatt is what makes the stuff he does engaging. That is a fine point to make, is because, you know, people will point out all the other times that this worked. Undertaker, Kane, Bray Wyatt.
There's a lot of times it didn't work.
You're talking about three of the most talented fucking people to ever step in a wrestling ring. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it has worked before, but it took extremely special people. Well, special performers in the wrestling business, we'll say it like that, to make those things work.
So it's funny because you mentioned the Undertaker, and I think the reason why the Undertaker worked is because there was nothing of its kind in professional wrestling really at that time. I was literally
just about to say that.
And with Kane,
you know,
Kane only worked because Kane was the brother. If you brought Kane in as a standalone character, I don't know if it works the same way jumping in, because Glenn Jacobs had 12 other gimmicks that just didn't work, and he needed and the Undertaker in 1997 was one of the most popular wrestlers in the entire world. So you bring in his brother, and it just so happens to be, you got Paul Bearer involved. There's a lot of things that wouldn't work with somebody. Like, I'll be honest, Mankind, which is not a supernatural spooky thing, but Mankind as a gimmick on anybody else except Mick Foley would have been a WWF Superstars jobber like Max Moon, T.L. Hopper.
Again, you're talking about, right? But that just beleaguers the point. Like,
it's talent.
One of the top 10 most talented fucking people ever. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bray Wyatt was a fucking genius, and you know, sometimes he had to be reeled in a little bit with some of his ideas because they were very out there. But it works because
must be.
Yeah, we live in a world also where like horror films draw money and horror-based stuff. You tap into people's psyches. It works. It really works. But you have to have the charismatic person behind it to really make it make sense.
What I will say is when Bo was doing the Bo leave thing in NXT as the NXT champion, he had a lot
over.
of
It was
fucking
over.
ability. He had a lot of ability that shone through. And it was crazy because people from the exposure that they've had to him would never fucking guess this, because he came up on the main roster, floundered terribly, and we never really saw anything. Let me tell you, the year he was NXT champion, doing the Bo leave gimmick, he was fucking cooking many matches that were fucking fantastic, with Pac, with Sami Zayn, there was a bunch of people that he had excellent matches with when he was NXT champion. And it was kind of a comedy character, but the charisma, the timing, the comfort on the mic and in imbuing that character was very, very good. I'm not saying, well, based upon that, this is going to fucking work. He's going to be able to pull it off, because as we have highlighted, it has taken Hall of Fame level talents to pull this off. The times it's worked. But what I'm saying is I think that people don't know that Bo probably has a better chance of pulling it off than you would initially think, because he has it in him to do some fantastic fucking stuff in the ring.
So I watched the trailer to that today for the movie Smile 2. I don't know if anybody's
it was like that. Yes.
And so when I watched the trailer, the first thing I thought was, you know what? That probably is what the Wyatt Six needs to kind of like go with, is because Bo Dallas has such a face that he would, in a dark light without the Uncle Howdy mask, he could have a fucking frightening type of smile in that way. Because I ain't gonna lie, like I watched the trailer. I don't really get scared by much, but I got like shook for 2 seconds because they had somebody in the trailer smile, and I was like, yo, that is an evil looking fucking smile. It works. So to take a bit of that and put that into what they're doing, it could work. I will say this: I don't dislike Nikki Cross. I think Nikki Cross to me is the person that makes me think that it's gonna work.
She looked fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. I'm so excited for her. I was talking about that the other day, man. Like, I'm so fucking happy for Nikki Cross. She has done every stupid, shitty fucking thing that they have asked her to fucking do. That was the most ridiculous, go nowhere, dumb bullshit, and she still fucking did it, and it's still fucking there. She looked fucking incredible. I'm so fucking hyped for her involvement in this. Fuck yes.
But I think, dude, like, I think for me, the thing that I think the reason why it doesn't work for me like that, and why I don't want to see it, is because it's just a constant reminder of the person who we lost. And and as someone who has lost literally like 95% of the people in my life that I care about, seeing somebody's vision get brought out by people who, and I don't mean this as a slight, are mostly lesser and do not possess the same charismatic ability. It's just like, damn, man, we want to let him live on, and his family wants to see his legacy live on. But it's just a part of me that's just like, every time you see that, you're gonna.
That's what was fucking crazy about that segment too the other night. Is it was like this mix of emotion, like,
it's like
how else, like think about what we're talking here. It was a bunch of people who appeared to be fucking murdered, but the reaction of the people watching it was like, there's people like, yo, I'm like sobbing right now, like fucking, because it's the tribute to this guy that I loved. And on top of it, fucking Rowan was there with the Bludgeon Brothers hammer with a fucking Brody Lee fucking tribute too. Like, that was included. It was such an insane mix of emotion because you're watching horror, but it's this dedication to mostly this one guy, but really two guys who everybody fucking loved and miss. And so it was like, that's a wild combination of emotions to put together into one thing the other night.
Going forward, I think that's my issue is going forward. It's like, damn, man, like, you're gonna watch it, and if it works, like all it's gonna do is invoke a sadness. Even if you're entertained, it's like once you come down off the high that the adrenaline of excitement brings you, you're like, damn, man, I wish we could have seen what Bray would have done. Man, imagine Brody's contract ran out and he came back to be a part of that, as opposed to say Joe Gacy or whoever that is. Like that's the thing about when you lose somebody in this business, it's really hard. Like even in AEW when they do like the Brody Lee tribute stuff and stuff like that, it's just like you have to do it one time and then move on because everybody involved is going to be super sad watching it as time goes on. I don't know how that's going to work in WWE because people loved Bray is one of the most beloved people in professional wrestling because he was such a great guy. He was such a, and then his death was so unfortunate and so unexpected. And it's like we were talking about, we were all talking about, man, Bray should be back, waiting for him to come back. Everybody's excited to see what he does next. And then it's like, 2 weeks later, he's gone. And it's the same thing with Brody. When Brody disappeared off of television for like a month or two, everybody's like, man, what happened with Brody? Where he lost the TNT title. Where's he at? And he's gone. And those two deaths are so impactful and so sudden that for me, as a fan, I could appreciate paying homage to someone. It's just sometimes, man, it's one of those. It's one of those things. It's a slippery slope. Because you're paying tribute and paying homage to someone and to someone's vision, but and his brother is executing it, which it makes it a little bit easier, I guess, for people. It's like, oh man, his brother's, it's an emotional thing. I think if Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, whatever he eventually ends up being called when they start wrestling and getting involved in that type of stuff, if he goes on to win a championship or something happens, like it's just gonna be it's so much emotions. And I think professional wrestling is great when it can tap into your emotions. It's just with this type of gimmick, you have to be. It's
gonna be
and then like I said, there's other people. Yeah, and so that's why for me it's like on the surface, spooky shit is gonna work most of the time if it's not too campy. In the way that they're doing it, Bray Wyatt stuff, even when it was campy, there was that undertone of like this shit could get real at any moment. Like even the fun how fire, it was like all of a sudden he just snaps and turns, and it's like does Bo have that? Joe Gacy, I saw Joe Gacy in the past. I had like I forgot what the group on NXT was called, but it was like it didn't work for me. I didn't feel he had anything that really worked. But like I said, Nikki Cross is enough. Bo Dallas is talented, so it could work. It's just and Rowan is cool too. It's just like, he's always good in the silent killer role, which I'm sure that's what he is. But Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, those are two guys that I have had nothing for. And even when Dexter Lumis was in was it Sam Shaw in TNA, I wasn't a fan of him then either. So I think it's just for me, it's just like, if I've not been a fan of you your entire time there, it's really hard for me to become a fan of you. Like I was never a fan of Roman, and I can tolerate him now, but that took a lot. And even then, I'm still like, if it's Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania, I'm Rock all day. Rock to me overshine the hell out of Roman. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, it's just if I lock in on something, I lock in on something. But I think the Y6, I want it to work for the sake of Bray's family, because I think seeing one of his visions, it's probably, I guess, his last vision that he was going to get to do play out. It's important. It's an important thing, and it's like we just all wish he was here to see it. I think we all wish Brody was here too, because even if Brody was still in AEW, I think we would just wish he was there to just see it. You just wish these men, these fathers, losing, like kids losing their parents so young. It's just hard. It's a really hard thing, and I don't want any. You don't know. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, how do the kids feel about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, the kids are gonna get older, and like, it's just an emotional thing. It's just hard, man. I mean, if JoJo signed off on it, and Mika and Mike and everybody else in the family signed off on it, then it's fine. But it's just, I don't know. It's a tricky one, man. And like I said, tugging at those emotional strings, those heartstrings in professional wrestling, sometimes it works, sometimes it can get uncomfortable. You know, it can get very uncomfortable.
Well, something that was not a tricky one the other night. Whoo, this Jacob Fatu fucking finally
Yes, sir.
fucking debut. Man, there is not enough praise that we can give. I don't think I've ever seen, I can't remember ever seeing more universal people who have kept up with the indies, other wrestlers. I have never seen a group of people come flying out. You know, obviously, like maybe if social media was a little bit bigger when the Yes movement happened or something like that, that you might have a comparison. Universally, thousands of people online, fans, wrestlers, people who work in the industry, being like, fuck yes. Jacob Fatu, we are so fucking happy for you. You guys don't know what you're in for. This guy is the fucking man. He can do it all. Great guy. Fucking a dude who made some mistakes early in his life, paid the fucking price, and has completely changed his fucking life around to be one of the most respected, highest level of integrity fucking dudes that exist out there. Universal, and this podcast is right there fucking with them. I've seen a ton of Jacob Fatu in person on TV screens. I'm telling you guys right now, as I have, he's a 10 of 10. He's a 5-tool fucking player. He is everything that a lot of people who are his size, who got his fucking aura, try to have his aura, come along and try to be, wish that they were. He is that. He has that aura because he is that fucking dude. And I join in with the thousands of voices. Could not be more fucking ecstatic to finally see him, to see him with his name, to see him with the huge fucking pop he got, and everything went down flawlessly. It was fucking right off the bat. You can tell from the way they presented him, from the shit that he did on screen, from even the reaction of the Tongan fucking members of the bloodline to him, that this is not a man who was to be fucked with at all. I'm so fucking hyped, man. What'd you think of that debut?
It's funny because I wasn't actually watching all of SmackDown, but I watched the first segment, which I also want to quickly point out this whole bloodline interacting with the Cody and Punk, which the Punk and Drew thing, like all of that, like SmackDown was knocking it out. They knocked it out the park. But
we're gonna get to that in a minute because I thought it was a good episode, but there's people like, oh, this is one of the greatest SmackDowns of all time. I'm like, I don't know about that, but go ahead, Jacob.
No, that's a little too much. The greatest is a little too much, but I think Jacob was going to make an impact. I kind of had an idea that he was showing up soon. I just didn't know if they were going to actually do it in Chicago or they were going to wait till like Money in the Bank. That's what I thought. They were going to probably wait for Money in the Bank. But I've been hearing it, you know, any week now. And so watching him get put in this position, I think it was mind blowing for me because I'm like, yo, we knew he was gonna show up, but it's like, how are you gonna present him in a way, and will they somehow? Because you know, Tama Tonga and you know, their debuts were kind of like, you know, it's kind of like it was cool, but it didn't really move me. This was a complete monster who came in, beat the hell out of like I mean, he beat Cody, Randy, the Kevin Owens, and
what heralded his approach was Solo laughing in their face like, oh, you don't even know, you're actually really fucked now. You thought you were fucked before, but now you're really fucked.
And so that is like it's just the bloodline story has had many stale moments, and I will make no bones about the fact that I felt like this story has been very stale with Solo as the leader, because I just don't feel like, and I know the kids are saying, I know they're all saying the aura word, and I know that that's the thing that they're all saying, it's a popular thing to say now, but I just have never felt anything for Solo Like, really, I just know I was just like, he's okay, dude's all right, he's cool, whatever. But the moment I saw Jacob hit that and he just come out there, I was just like, yo, this dude is a fucking beast, and there's no one who is going to be able to stop his rise into becoming a star. Now, obviously, he has to tone down his promos a little bit, because if you've seen some of them MLW promos, I mean, that brother is.
Who knows? Man, maybe they'll get maybe they get drafted to Raw when they go to Netflix.
I was gonna say, when we go to Netflix, because he got. But I think that's the thing, is that a PG version of WWE might have put a little bit of the handcuffs on him a little bit. But this WWE where Rock. Where Rock is going out there saying shit, and Punk is saying whatever, and they're saying it. WWE finally taking the gloves off and not being pussy ass organization that's like, oh, we can't say that. Oh no, we shouldn't say this. Let them go out there and do what the fuck they do. Jacob Fatu is going to, when Roman and Jacob Fatu get to that's the one. I get like Solo's cool. Obviously Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, they're going to all be involved. For Jacob Fatu to be someone who started professional wrestling because he saw his cousins on television with Tamina, and then go making your debut in Chicago to a hot, sold-out crowd that saw you, and the crowd went fucking kind of crazy for you when you showed up. So people were ready for him to show up. He shows up, he shows out, he does his thing, and I think it's one of the best debuts that we've seen in quite some time, because he's a made man already. And they were talking about WWE was a little bit worried about him outshining Solo. Well, I mean, you ain't got to worry about him outshining him, because that shit just happened. And I don't know what their plans are long term for Solo in this story, but the people are gonna gravitate 100% to him over Solo, over anybody, I believe. And with that, you just got to give the people what they want. And Jacob Fatu is gonna be a star, man. That's just it. He is a star.
He's
and that was
age. He's
excellent.
He is full on too. I don't know if people really realize he is NOI fam, like through and through. His dad is the Tonga Kid, or Tamu, who was in and out of Head Shrinkers, the Island Express, like all those fucking teams from the 80s. He used to work Madison Square Garden. So this is a full on born and bred a fucking star that they just brought on. And I saw people posting, oh, how long did it take Jacob Fatu to outshine all the other members of the Jacob Fatu outshines 90% of the fucking wrestling industry. Like, that's how fucking good this dude is.
Yeah.
To me, now,
that's
to me, because that's he is perfectly fits into the style of wrestling that I like. So that's me saying that everybody has different tastes, but to me, Jacob Fatu is 5-star platinum, 90 top 10 percentile of the fucking of everyone. So yeah, he outshone the other members that have just only done so much on the show. Real quick, we just got to ask people out there, if you're going to lie about my guy here, my co-host, at least have the most updated pack of lies that people are telling online about him. We got people out here talking about sports gambling, but then saying you've been in need of assistance since March, but the sports gambling rumor was going around the fall. So, like, how does that timeline
which was dumb, because
match up? Because it wasn't even a thing, really. But that's what I'm saying. Like, at least
legally, it was not legally possible for me.
At least
it's not legally possible for me to do.
At least have the most updated, logical pack of lies that people are currently telling.
Actually, you know what?
Hold on. I'm going to try and help people because, and this is, you know, I love you, but sometimes I can summarize things a little bit better than some of the ways that you explain things. My guy lost his job due to a medical emergency that put him in the hospital, made him unable to work. So that
I'm okay now.
So now he's medically okay.
Yeah.
So now in the in between, he's trying to save
Mostly.
money and get a job in another city. I almost said the city. In another city, so that he can go be near his daughter. But without a job, he's not able to save the money for a deposit for an apartment or a house. Which, why would you do that anyways if you're trying to move and you're trying to get a job in the place you want to move to? And that is why there is a daily need to make it and get enough income to pay for temporary lodging. Very simple, very concise. Lost job because of a medical situation. Does not have a new one yet because he's trying to get one in the place he's trying to move to so he can be near his daughter.
I do have a part-time gig. Just want people to know that I've had several part-time gigs. I'll literally do anything part-time that is within reason. Let me clarify that before that becomes a rumor that I'll be out here doing anything within reason. And that's working security. I've done dishwasher, busboy, in places I've done, and jobs that I have never done because I'm an office guy. So being super honest, I've been an office guy my entire life for the most part, outside of the last major full-time job that I had, which was a physical job that I had, and which is why I ended up several times in urgent care. Several times I've had to have my wrists drained and cut as well as my body cut. So I just want people to understand what you're saying and who you're saying it to. And I have a quick message to someone because this AEW stuff has been let's also bring that up real quick because AEW people, they're always WWE people are always the people doing the shitty stuff, and they're always in these threads, and they're always, no one who's a WWE fan has tried to fuck with this guy's ability to fucking get help. It's been all AEW cult dick riding fucking weirdos who have tried to spread fucking rumors about this dude and tried to fuck up his ability to get fucking income. And I want people to understand this part.
I wonder why that is. Is it because they're weird fucking cultists, and if you say anything negative about the show, then they try to fuck with your life over a fucking wrestling show?
Here's the thing. I want to point this out because somebody replied to this. Bothered me yesterday because I wanted to go off, but I said I can't because guess what? You know what happened in the time between this week in wrestling and the last one? I was suspended on Twitter for a fucking week because I put out a post that said, "Hey, you guys keep talking about who donates to the Trumps in WWE. Well, ding, ding, ding. Your favorite people to defend did the exact same." And what happened? They mass reported me to the point I got a week suspension. While I was on a week suspension, I saw people who work with AEW on the music side of things taking shots at me, talking about, "Oh, you were living a cushy life and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that." What happened is that you people don't open your fucking mouth and talk about what's really going on. We could talk about AEW keeping publishing from artists and not trying to pay them for this, not trying to pay them for that. I could do that, but I'm not. When I have done that in the past, you know what happened? Absolutely nothing, because everybody's a bitch that stands behind and just kisses ass privately and then tells me, "Fuck them, man. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them." I will say this. I saw shots being taken at me. First of all, I saw True Grift was a name that somebody thought, and it just so happened to be somebody I had worked with before, who had a very, very close eye on this AW situation. Very close, actually, if you consider it. That person's never reached out to me personally. I reached out to them personally after seeing them take shots. I was not given a response. I got a simple sub tweet that said, "If it don't apply, just let it fly." And I'm not gonna let it fly, brother, because that's on my set that I've been representing since I was a little nigga. And I don't usually say that word on this pod, but I'll say that since I was a little one. I don't have nothing. I've said nothing about none of y'all. I've defended every artist privately and publicly. That is some bitch ass shit. Fuck with my livelihood and someone who I thought was a solid person lying and doing these fucking you tweeted about me for 2 whole months. I didn't even see them shits. Not once did you fucking talk to me. It took my brother, a part of DAR, sending me screenshots like, yo, is he dissing you? He dissing you? He dissing you? People screenshotting my tweets talking about, oh, what kind of guy who's struggling makes tweets like this because I talk about a woman being attractive. Like, that shit is dumb. When I saw every fucking tweet, I was like, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking dumbass. The dude who replied to one of my posts and said, I've seen so many grifts online. I'd rather give my money to keep my money than give it to a wrestling fan. I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm a human fucking being. I'm a person. Reducing my existence to being just a wrestling fan when I don't even tweet about wrestling more than I tweet about sports and basketball. I tweet about other shit. I do music. I'm not just a wrestling fan. You guys don't see anything but wrestling. AEW is not doing anything for you outside of taking your money for their product. I don't have a beef with AEW. I got people over there that I still got love for. I got people that I still fuck with over there. I'm not here to cause beef or cause nothing with nobody. I'm just a dude trying to survive because I have a much bigger goal to obtain. I went through some shit this last year. Y'all ain't been through shit, so you wouldn't know struggle until struggle slap you in the face, and I hope it does one day. Because when it does, the lack of sympathy or any type of respect that I was given, you ain't getting it from me. I'm going to piss on y'all grave. I'm going to shit on y'all when I get the chance, which is not the way I should be, but I feel like it's well deserved after all this shit that I done had to say. Because y'all stop lying on me. You don't know me personally. I said this on Twitter. If you ain't Eric, if you ain't Apollo, if you ain't Peagle, you ain't Jay Stringer, you ain't Morgan, you ain't CM Venus. Got to make sure I don't say people's names. Make sure, like, real names. You ain't people that I know in real life. Don't speak on my shit. Do not call me a degenerate. First of all, degenerate gambler. That's fucking hilarious. But first of all, I'm notoriously cheap. I'm a cheap, very cheap person. If I was ever going to be a degenerate anything, the only thing I've ever spent a shit ton of money on is my livelihood and for my child. And anybody who's around me knows that's the case. Please do not speak on me ever in your life. And if you do, when I'm back outside, please come see me face to face. Please do. Because I would never do that to none of y'all, especially people I worked with and been on songs and theme songs with. That's pussy shit, bro. I'm accessible by DM. Everybody can DM me. My shit is wide open. My DMs are wide open so you can fucking come talk to me. Throwing shots at me for a fucking month. So I got people that we work with hitting me up like, what's up with him? You can't come talk to me? It's a bitch move. Fuck y'all niggas. On everything I love. On everything I love. But I just want to say, I enjoyed SmackDown this week. Just want to bring it back to it. I got angry because this shit bothers me because I'm in this shit day to day and y'all fucking with me, and it's like I ain't used to people fucking with me because it's a respect thing in the real world. The online shit, y'all, I was places, I was by myself. Y'all could have came talk to me. AEW people came and talked to me at Raleigh Mania, and you could do the math on the people that were there. And not one person said any of this bullshit. I clarified with them. I said, you got people saying this about me, that about me. And he was like, that wasn't us. That wasn't us. Come on, bro. I said, you know what this is about. You know what my situation is. You know what's going on. We know. I mean, certain things there is kind of messed up that it works this way and blah, 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 blah. That's what happened. I got pictures of people that are top dogs in AEW's brass that are from Wale Mania. You've seen them. You've all seen them because it was in my boy Cam's video that he posted. So stop acting like if I was telling lies, wouldn't somebody have said something by now? That's why they're quiet. They're quiet because they know what it is, and it's easier to just silence me than opposed to saying, "Hey, this isn't true," or maybe there was a mix-up, and I found out some things, and I see why y'all mad. Y'all don't get shit from them. And you mad at me because I am actively fighting for not just myself, but for us too. Because if I get something, naturally you got to give something to other people too. You can't, like I said, I'm trying to look out for everybody, and I'm fighting for everybody. It's not just for me. I've been saying for years that AEW does bad business, and they have a way of disregarding the music artists as if we're not important, and they don't need to take care of us from a financial standpoint for our talents. Somebody's verse is not worth 100. Like a rapper who is an independent artist is not going to offer me $200 to do a verse. This is not the truth. They will offer me $5. Y'all run by a billionaire and you can't even offer people up front this and give them their residuals. And you cool with this and me? Cool, bro. That's cool. Like CM Punk said, tell me when I'm telling lies. I ain't said one yet. And speaking of CM Punk, I thought his segment with Drew McIntyre and his feud with Drew McIntyre is amazing. I thought it was amazing. I love this feud. This is the feud of the fucking year for me. It's just like every time Punk is actually healthy, he has the feud of the year. To me, he has the feud of the fucking year. First was MJF and AEW, and he just hasn't been healthy ever since. And now he's healthy, and goddamn it, him and Drew, they're knocking this shit out the park, man. I love it.
I just want to say
I
on
love
the
it.
other deal. I just want to say on the other deal, like I appreciate where some people say they're coming from. That you despise a scammer and despise good hearted people giving out of their money. Like I appreciate the hell out of that, man. I'm with that. I feel the same way. But like at the same time, like the dude's DMs are open, and there's plenty of appreciable evidence that is easily presented if you want to just reach out and talk. Like if you got questions, it's all right there. Like you pointed out, we make these videos for United Football Media. Like the curtains are right there every time. Like
somebody called me a scammer, and I had to show them the obituary of my uncle because I don't like people lying on me.
And like
if people follow my,
but that's what's crazy is like you're going,
like
shit, and like you got enough stress, and you got people trying to throw extra dirt on where you got to do shit like that to throw. Like, come on, man, have a little fucking shame. Like just.
And I've said this before. If people who follow me on my Instagram, no one questions me. You know why no one questions me that follow me on Instagram? Because everybody can see on my Instagram these pictures that I've posted. These things like if I do anything, I tell people. I went to Raleigh Mania and WrestleMania. I told people exactly how that went down. I detail everything so that people do not have like this thought that like this guy is doing it, because I know how it is and I understand. But I also know that I've seen people with ton of GoFundMe's in their situations and nobody questions these people. They share it. They get 300, 400 shares, 500 shares. And for I have people, I need a new car battery. People raise $750 for a TV for a dude that thinks he looks like Jay Uso. Like, you don't question that. You like, oh, this is my guy. That's my guy, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And so it's just like, if you like someone, you're not going to question them. If you don't like someone, you're going to find ways to tear them down. This is just textbook. This is textbook. It happens all the time. And I just was like I said, just like, yo, just leave me the fuck alone. Like somebody was like, oh, I thought you had a job offer or something like that. And I'm like, motherfucker, I thought I did too. I got the emails. I got the phone calls. Like my friends who I'm around every now and then when I see them while I'm here, they saw the same shit. I was on the phone around my brother Apollo talking to the recruiter. Like these are things that people see because they're around me. You don't fucking know me. I get it. There's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of grifters and stuff like that.
That's what's crazy about it is like all of the things that these folks are saying is all assumptions, like no evidence. It's just you think you know what you see, and then you decide what the truth is. There's plenty of fucking hard evidence to show what you're saying is true. There's lots. Just ask to see it. Like,
and that's the thing. No matter how much evidence is there, people just want to believe what they want to believe. Because if somebody in your Discord says, "Yo, let's go fuck with this person," or Dax Harwood blocks me and says, "I don't know what this guy's talking about," I don't know if this guy said something negative to me or negative about me. You can go through and see the tweets that I had that were positive and calling FTR a great team and defending them. And it's just like but when he blocked me, then I was like, well, fuck him. Like, dude, I'm taking up for you and shit and showing you support, thinking you was a part of, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was cool. Like your tag team partner's cool. I knew your tag team partner before you did. Truthfully, if you really want to talk about it.
And they say things like, oh, I thought he had a job offer. Yeah, he did too. And then he got one of the biggest kick in the nuts a fucking person could possibly fucking get. Thank you for fucking bringing it up again.
And also, I just want to point out, if people have never tried to go and apply for relocation jobs and jobs in general, maybe, and I guess this is true because a lot of wrestling fans don't actually want to actually do these things. I guess a lot of you just don't, especially people in certain brands. I know your secrets. You guys all are just a bunch of kids and you don't work. So I guess you don't understand how this works. So when you apply for jobs, you don't just get a job because you apply for it. Like, let's just be like, you could go through 3 or 4. And I know people who are going through the process. Like, and if you want a good paying job, which is what I have always had in my life, which is how before this situation I was renting a house. Like I said, my friends who I know in real fucking life been to my house, been around me, all of this shit. So it's like people don't understand, like, anything that I've ever said, there are people who have been around me for 25 fucking years. Apollo and I have been best friends for 25 years. Pigo has been one of my best friends for almost 15 fucking years. Like my boy Speed, who is one of the people on the DAR Sports and Media account, because he's one of the original DAR people. I've known him since 6th grade. These are people who I know, people who, like, come on, man. Like, it's annoying because no matter what I say or what I do, I can explain every detail and people tell me I said too much. I'm an overshare, I over-explain. I do it because I want to make sure people are crystal clear on what's happening and what's not. And then when you don't say enough, it's, oh, why didn't you say? And it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. At the end of the day, all this is about for me is surviving, because I have something that is way more important than me that matters to me. And you don't even know what's happening in that situation, because I, as most men would do, protect that situation. Because if you really want to know pieces of it, I could tell you, but I'm not going to tell you that in public and on platforms so you can run with it, because no matter what my issue may be with certain people in my personal life, I would never send people towards them to say anything disrespectful to them. I would never disrespect them outwardly myself either on social media, unless it was something, and that's because it's a respect thing that you have for the people in your life to not do that. At the end of the day, the one person that I talk about and will always talk about is my beautiful, beautiful, smart, intelligent, lovely, amazing daughter. And that is the only reason why I even care to get up every fucking morning and survive. And if you can't respect that or understand what that's about, then you can fuck off. I was about to say a whole lot of, I was about to say something else. But like, that's it, man. Like, I'm tired of this shit. Like, you are all a bunch of kids and people who don't live in the United States either, so you don't understand how the United States is in some shit right now, brother. It's not just me. There's 3 people who listen to this podcast that I know who have lost their jobs in the last 3 months. I'm not gonna put their names out there, obviously, but like, there are people who have just people are going through shit, man. Like, this is real. We in a real fucking, like, this shit is stressful for people, man. Like, it's not just me. Like, nothing I go through is different than people who are struggling. Like, there's people who in the same hotel that I'm at. It's a dude who's living in this hotel for 3 years because he can't just get enough to get a deposit. He doesn't have the credit to do that. Do you not know how hard that is? Do you not know how hard that is, man? Like, wrestling aside, some things are bigger than professional wrestling. It's bigger than your interests. It's bigger than your fanfare. It's bigger than that, man. This is life. This is real life. Real life, bro. Like, real fucking life. And if y'all don't get that, y'all don't understand that, and I know some of y'all don't, then it is what it is, bro. But at the end of the day, I am not here to keep going back and forth with any of y'all the weirdos. Like, if you don't agree with how I move, or you don't agree with me, like, needing help to survive, totally fine. Keep that shit over there. If you don't want to help me out, or you don't want to share, you don't want to retweet, totally fine. I don't. It's not like I'm not mad at anybody who does it. Like it's fine. If you can't, you can't. I don't care. It's not a big deal. Like if you can, I appreciate you. I try to, I let that be known. Like especially in a big general statement. So like there's been people who've had my back, and I love them. I love them, and I've loved them before this, and I will continue to show them love and support when I'm out of this because that's what we do. Like you guys just don't understand that because you don't have real friends. You don't have brothers. You don't have sisters. You don't have people that look out for you. You got people that your only interest is wrestling. That's it. Although DAR has been a business, and this is business that we're trying to run here, it's a family, bro. Like, that's it. These are my guys. These are my friends. These are my brothers. Everybody you see on this platform are people that know me. And if they didn't know me from the jump, they've got to know me now. They know the details. They know what my daughter looks like. They know this and the other. They know like my daughter does good in school. They know this because I tell my friends. Maybe if you get some real friends and take your ass the fuck outside, maybe you'd understand that. So, but Drew McIntyre, CM Punk feud of the year. I'm ready for SummerSlam. Let's fucking
feud of the year. Ready for SummerSlam. Ready to see what the follow-up is. Man, Raw tomorrow night. Chad Gable's come back to life. Wyatt 6, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk follow-up. Fucking hyped for that. Fucking hyped. We should be back with a Forbidden Door preview / Weekend Wrestling next, probably Sunday again. Surprise, I'll let you know that. They're true. Next Sunday again, about the same time, getting geared up for Forbidden Door. Probably going to be an awesome show. Hopefully things, right, we keep saying, got to be a change coming. Hopefully we'll have good news to report on the true front as well. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully.
United Football Media, it's the off season. Keep tuned to the YouTube page though, because they're still putting out content. Got a couple of ideas that I'm bouncing around with some of the guys who run that thing over there. But we will be there at least once a month, sharing all the biggest stories in football. So check us out there. Still got our basketball coverage, off season and NBA draft stuff coming up in this upcoming week. And again, Weekend Wrestling next week. As you can see, even though things are slowing down a little bit, even though people are legitimately fighting for their lives in a hotel every day, even though we are the most outside wrestling podcast hosts that you've ever seen, the world of DAR never stops.